we're in the end game now, and with just a snap behind. Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to PumaTato in the Sherman Firefly Scorpion. If I'm not mistaken, you're going to see Puma in a variety of vehicles in this match, and it is going to be something of a dramatic event. Drama! Tank Mama watches Lost when she gets the chance, and every single time I peek over her shoulder to see what's going on, there's some kind of ridiculous drama going on in that show, and we'll recreate that experience for you here today as Puma notices an enemy vehicle and realize Puma is using the view from the gunner's sight option here, so there's going to be some parallax, and that is going to cost him a bit here, but for the sake of roleplay, he will pay the price, taking on a Panther at we'll call this fairly short range for the muzzle velocity of their guns. Kind of surprised that that first shot bounced off the upper plate, as he seemed to get a little bit of depression on the little fella, but because we're in a Sherman, he's going to be able to get the shot and this time punch clean through the angled frontal plate of the Panther as he was on the bottom. And taken down now, but with enough spawn points to respawn in the Tempest, one of the most competitive high-speed fighters in the game in a pure fighter role. But instead, Puma's gonna screw around in the air with his P-47 friend as they pop smoke and decide to go after ground targets together. Not to kill, it looks like they're just playing catch and release at this point, just dancing among the daisies. I can't see me ground striking with nobody but you. Even though I'm an apex fighter, I won't build my energy advantage, oh no. We'll do some maneuvers. So I think that Puma was just screwing around and having a good time at this point, baiting the ground as it were. Puma probably not suspecting the Faka Nation to attack. Was that a BF-109? Anyway, it shredded both Puma and his newfound friend, and now it's personal. You didn't have to go for my wingman, says Puma as he goes for the enemy ground targets now with a vengeance, with a passion. He was just dilly-dallying around, and now they've made it personal. He's got to avenge his fallen, his fallen partner, yeah. Cops, not gay, probably. Anyway, Sherman pushing forward. The Firefly looking down on the battlefield. Great spot to set up, although he is a bit exposed here, and this is about the time that the Soviets start to flank. So, searching for targets, we hear some engine sounds off to his right, and a ping on the map behind him. It's panic time. Reverse. Puma, look at your map. There's two of them. You're surrounded. No, Puma, he's got his AirPods in. He couldn't hear us. Now, what's this called? A Jagdpanzer 38T bouncing a shot with his well-angled frontal plate. A second target appears through the smoke. What is it? A T-34-57. Just as deadly of a foe as the Jagdpanzer closes in, saying, "Oh, I hope your body is ready for my 75. Looking for his chance to peek around the rock. The casemate tank destroyer needs to pick his moment carefully, but he's stalled for too long as Allied CAS comes in, dealing damage through the roof of the Jagdpanzer, and Puma pushes around, trading shots with the tiny tank destroyer, lower plating him nicely and taking a shot to the breach and to one of his, I think that's his loader, in return. With 5 quick kills here in this match, a bit of dilly-dallying, but like I said, this time it's personal. PumaTato 2, a cop on the edge. Yeah, is this another Tank Cop episode? Tank Cop. Anyway, it's been so long since I did Tank Cop. I still haven't forgotten. Puma here, remembering the power of the 17-pounder side as he pushes toward an aggressive enemy team that has taken the field, dealing with the spawn pushers, clearing up the route of advance for his team, doing some damage in, what is this, is it called the Challenger? I can't remember what this thing's called. The Avenger. The Avenger? Yes, I think it's called the Avenger. Anyway, this British 17-pounder wielding tank destroyer, not the most popular vehicle in game, and yet its turret armor specifically can be a bit trolly. Surprising for how thin it is, but that's the way it works in this game. And the 17-pounder hits just as hard on this turreted TD as you would expect, though mobility not bad either. In fact, a good vehicle to make a solid comeback as part of a very powerful lineup, as you see from the quality anti-aircraft fighter that Puma spawned in early on. I think he was just playing around and having some fun. It's definitely not an aircraft that wins matches unless you climb and go for the enemy aircraft, which is not what we saw him doing. Came back in another Sherman, which, as we all know, a very strong vehicle in this game. PE-8 coming in, Puma knowing the odds, aiming perhaps a bit too high there, but this is a replay, but I think he did overshoot that one a bit. And it's easy to overestimate or underestimate the lead required to take on a PE-8 as he does his swoop. Did he drop the bomb? He was getting some pressure. Indeed, he is being pressured. Ivan there in the Doomstar being taken down as Puma avoids falling down the bridge. Thankfully, he looked in time to see that the bridge is out. The bridge is out! You guys ever watch True Lies? Quality movie. Anyway, moving right along. Why am I so silly today? I am just pleased as a peach in a pie to be sharing with you this replay sent in by PumaTato. He's been very active on the Discord, very helpful, and he's filled out his role nicely in welcoming people to the server and making connections with folks, and it's just so nice to see people building their friendships in the Thunder Zone. And I know Puma has been a big part of the life of the server, so it's always nice to be able to feature one of his replays. This match indeed ended up being interesting for a number of reasons. There's a couple of vehicles here that we don't see a whole lot of, surprisingly. The British tanks, very strong once they get access to the 17-pounder, and these low battle rating versions of the vehicle, as you see, easily able to stand toe-to-toe with German 5.7, 6.0 vehicles. Kind of surprised, again, that one bounced, but them's the breaks. I would aim for the left side of the hull on the Panther here, and Puma may have been doing that, or going for the turret, hard to tell, but I'd give him about a 50% chance to punch through the hull of the Panther from this angle, and he just misses dealing serious damage on that shot, aiming for the spot that I was hoping he would aim for. Another round, this one going into the turret, just not dealing the post-penetration damage that you need, and perhaps we see why the British vehicles just aren't quite so popular. An unlucky shot at the Tiger hits the one spot on the hull where it's not going to go through, and Puma gets sent back to the vehicle select screen once again. What's he going to bring out now? He's brought two Sherman Fireflies, or at least Shermans with the 17-pounder. He's brought out the Avenger, I think it's called the Avenger, with the 17-pounder, and the Hurricane. Or is it a Tempest? I'm sorry, I'm really bad at naming British vehicles, and what's his choice? A third Sherman Firefly. He is certainly invested in this match, and even though they can't take the sky from him, as the Allied cast is strong with this one, he's going to have to take the ground, and winning the war on the ground is key here for the Sherman Firefly. You can't stop the signal, but you can certainly stop the Allied reinforcements from coming in if they can manage to shut down his spawn, quickly repositioning and needing to prevent the advance of these infiltrating Germans. We're looking at a Tiger and a Panther working in tandem here. The Panther, having taken serious damage, is still a threat with its high velocity 75mm cannon and very powerful post-penetration effect. There are few places the Sherman Firefly can survive a hit from either the Tiger or the Panther, but in return, the powerful 17-pounder of this tank that Puma has selected is also able to deal reliably with enemy heavy armor, although because Puma's using view from the gunner's sight, that's going to be a bit more tricky. As we've seen, the Tiger and Panther both have some interesting armor characteristics that can make them very difficult to take down without precise aiming, something that's not too much of a challenge for an experienced player like Puma, unless again he's using the view from the gunner's sight. And that's just something that Puma has grown accustomed to, and it's interesting to see people that make that decision. Of course, it's going to be an advantage when they decide to play in simulator battles where that is the only gunner view that's available. Seeing a profile of an enemy tank, it's the Panther, or a Panther once again, taking down both gunner and breach is going to neutralize that vehicle until he can spend a considerable amount of time repairing, probably upwards of 25-30 seconds even for a well-trained crew after taking a few losses. So if Puma can close the distance here and close aggressively, he does, he's going to be able to take down this Panther. Moving in, trying to get the side shot, easiest and most reliable way to kill the Panther, and he comes in with a bit too much heat here, pumping the brakes, and Panther has nothing that it can do. Cannon barrel taken down, which is going to give an even longer repair time for him. Puma lining up his shot and taking down the rest of the turret crew for his 8th kill in this match, 7 on the ground, and as I mentioned, he is furiously avenging the death of his playtime buddy in the P-47, who was ruthlessly killed. Meanwhile, his ally in the XA-38 Grizzly coming in with that good close air support cannon cast that you've heard me talk so much about. And look at the scoreboard! My goodness! The blue team almost wiped off the field, yet holding an advantage. Looking at the dispersion of the minimap, you see a heavy tank in between A and Puma's point, allied casts and fighters holding down the skies and also marking enemy targets on the map, which is going to be so essential at this stage of the fight. We're in the end game now, and with just a snap behind him, an enemy T-3485 takes down a crucial number of victory points. It's down to the wire. If this capture zone falls, it's all over for Puma's team. Is this the end for the blue team? It looks like it will be. As the C point continues to be captured, time ticks down and victory points are lost, and yet the heavy tank finally capturing the B point, letting off some of the pressure. If he can capture and hold that point, then victory might be obtainable, and yet 1 or 2 kills and the allied team will lose on points alone. It's past being down to the wire. At this point, the baby's chewing on the wire and the electricity's turned on. It's do or die. The daddy reflexes have to be strong. We've got to scoop this victory up off the floor and teach it not to play with electricity. Where's my toddler? Anyway, Whirlwind opening up on the allied cast. Looks like he's far enough away that he's not going to be a threat, and yet we know somewhere between C and B there's a T-3485 that can swing the tide of this battle. The A point completely unobserved from the ground, and yet aircraft flying overhead, being ready to mark targets and relay their positions to the allied team. And as I mentioned, in these last few moments of the match, that is so crucial, and herein we see the advantage of allied close air support spam, as just marking that T-3485 on the map is enough to set up Puma for a position where he can fire on the enemy. And indeed, not the is that? Yes, I think that might be the T-3485, but again, because he has his gun set with that parallax view, he whiffs the first shot, well aimed and yet difficult to get on target. with the M10 specifically, just because. Can we keep her up here? You can tell the nerves are shaky. His knees are sweaty. His palms are shaky. Mom's spaghetti as Puma almost flips his tank destroyer, and yet the Wolverine still on its feet, pressing forward. The heart rate has got to be up into the eyeballs at this point as the pressure is on. These are the last seconds of battle, one way or the other, as the heavy tank at B now is holding a neutral zone. Enemies inside the wire as Puma closes in onto the C point, which should be unoccupied unless there's an enemy we don't know about yet, and this is one advantage of the late game. There tend to be fewer surprises in terms of the numbers of enemy players as the enemy team has been dwindled down, and this is two drunks punching it out in an alley at this point. It's a fight to the death between a couple of fatties that have just gotten slow and lethargic but are still determined to take each other down, as the numbers advantage for the allies finally comes into play here, and the remaining players on the allied team hold the ground and finish choking out the competition. What a brutal fight. What a marathon, a lot of this being cut and skipped through to get to this point, and a victory for the team of PumaTato. Hope you enjoyed that one. Catch you guys in the next replay. Bye-bye.